Hi there guys, Flegg here from Ethical Property Partners, the place where you can make annual returns from property on a monthly basis. So this is episode 2 of our 5-part series of the marketing strategies that work in buoyant markets. And this strategy is such a simple one. I was given some feedback recently from a friend who isn't a property investor but watched one of our YouTube episodes, and her feedback was that I do go on a bit. So I'm going to keep this as a shorter video for you. The last one was about 18 minutes, so it's going to be a shorter episode, but I'm still going to give you the strategy in its entirety. We call this on EPP the Doughnut strategy, and it's basically building relationships with estate agents. Now you might think, why would you build relationship with estate agents when the market is so buoyant? Well, I'll answer that in just a second. And the second question you might be thinking is, and why is it called the Doughnut strategy? Well, let me answer that one first. The idea behind this is you put aside a few hours every single week. Not the same few hours, you want to change it up a bit, and you ideally want to pick days when estate agents are quiet. So if you think about it, when are estate agents quiet? Well, they're pretty busy on a Friday because they're booking all their viewings in for the weekend, and they're really busy on a Monday because they're following up on all the viewings from the weekend just past. So you're really looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I particularly like a Tuesday because they've followed everyone up, it's looking slow, and they'd love to have some interest in their properties over the hump of the week, if you like. So you are wanting to go in and build relationships with the mover and the shakers in each estate agent's office. Sometimes it'll be the owner if it's an independent, sometimes it'll be the sales manager if it's a chain, but often it can just be a negotiator who is really good at their job, is in constant contact with their vendors, and has a bit of clout in the office. The person you don't want to be making the relationships with is who I affectionately call the key monkey. That's the person that just goes around and does all the viewings, doesn't know the vendor, doesn't know anything other than what's written on the particulars, and is basically just there to open and close the front door for you. Those aren't the people you need to be building the relationships with. So you want to be going around once a week, once a fortnight, and building those relationships. And the reason it's called the Doughnut strategy is because at Easter you take some hot cross buns with you, at Christmas you take some chocolates, in the middle of the year when it's not an occasion you take donuts with you and share them around the office and have a cup of tea with them and build some rapport. That's the strategy. You're building relationships. Now my first question is my biggest objection that I hear from prospective clients or prospective marketeers that are thinking of using this strategy, and that is, in a buoyant market, why would I be building relationships with estate agents when they're selling all their stock? And therein lies the limiting belief. They are not selling all their stock. If they'd sold all their stock, everything would be gone on Rightmove. There would be nothing on the portals. There'd be nothing in their estate agents' windows. Well, of course there are properties in their windows. Of course there are properties, and if you look on the portals, that have been there for months and months and months. So agents are not selling everything at the moment. They're selling the majority of their stock very quickly, absolutely. Not in all parts of the country though, it does depend, but there are always unusual properties that are blighted, so properties that have problems, vendors that have problems, vendors that are inflexible, vendors who are motivated, vendors who can't sell for market price, they need above market price. Those properties are always going to sit on the market until the market catches up with them, and that can be a long, long time. So what do you do? Well, in my experience, most agents are quite proud. Most agents won't want to give you the time of day, and so what you need to do is you need to turn up forearmed. So what I would do is I would look at the agents on your estate agent row. So there's normally a street or a couple of streets in a town or city where all the estate agents congregate. So you can walk 100 meters and have perhaps 10 or 12 estate agents on that one stretch. So you want to look at which agents are on that estate agents row, and then you want to look on Rightmove at those agents' properties, and you can search by agent quite easily, look at all the properties and look at how long they've been on the market for. So when you then have a property that's been on for over 3 months or over 6 months or over 9 months that's listed with that agent, what you do is you walk into that agency and you've made a little note, and before you walk in you have a quick look and you go, oh, it's number 123 Smith Street. So when you walk in and you're chatting with the person who's the mover and the shaker, and I can explain how to identify that person in another video if you'd like me to. When you're chatting to them and they're going, yeah, we haven't got any stock at the moment. No, it's all flying off the shelves, because that's their stock answer when investors walk in and just ask for a bargain. No, we haven't got any bargains at the moment. You know, everything's selling really, really quickly. You can say, oh, okay, great. Oh, I bet that's good news for you. I bet you're earning good commission. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So I did notice that you've got number 123 Smith Street for sale. That seems to have been on a little while. What's the situation there? Actually, that's a bit of an awkward one. Yeah, that has been on the market a little while, and they start to open up. They start to tell you the story about that vendor, and that's your in. And so what you can then do is you can ask questions. Never offer a solution, but you can start to ask questions. So if, for example, the property was above market value, say, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. We've actually bought quite a few properties above market value before. What we usually do is we'll exchange contracts, and then we'll make payments over a period of time until we can complete, having made payments over a period of time to build up to the purchase price. What's the vendor's situation? I haven't made an offer there. I've asked another question. What's the vendor's situation? And so they'll say, oh, well, actually, the vendor's downsizing, and you can then say, oh, okay, well, that's interesting, because perhaps we could give them enough to downsize, obviously pay your fee there and then perhaps we could help them to move on whilst continuing to pay them an income which would get them their above market value sale. So you can start to explore the possibilities. Now, it's really important to remember, agents will not be on the same wavelength as you. They are trained to think, and this is obvious because they are doing lots and lots of transactions that are vanilla. They are just doing bog standard, keys are passed when contracts are completed, and you get 100% of the money. That's what they do. Money goes this way, keys and title go that way, that's it. And so you're going to have to slowly open their eyes to all the stuff you've learned on this channel in order to explain to them how sophisticated transactions can happen. And they will be resistant to it, which is why you want to start doing the Doughnut strategy now, because you might not get loads of properties. It's going to take a while to build your trust and credibility. But after you've been in every fortnight, every week for a little while, they'll start to trust you, especially if you go and view properties and give them feedback on the vendors, and you meet vendors and you make offers, and as soon as you've done a deal or two, then the floodgates open. In 2009, we did 26 flips. My business partner and I at the time did 26 flips. The vast majority of those came from one agent. We got a couple from a couple other agents, but the vast majority came through one agent, and that was a national chain. That was a national chain where we had a really strong relationship with the manageress of that estate agency, and they just knew that we would buy stuff if it fitted our model, and so it came straight to us. Sometimes they didn't even do viewings. It got to the point where they'd give us keys and let us go and have a look around the property and drop the keys back to them with our offer. It got to that level of trust. And so building those relationships can be absolutely gold dust. If you have questions, guys, pop them in the comments box. If you're enjoying this series and you'd like other people that you know to benefit from it, then please do share the episode. That helps us to grow this channel. And if you would like to hear our content each and every time that it comes out, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and you will be notified every time we come out with a new episode. In the meantime, guys, happy investing.